Hello, I just wanted to give an update on my launch date and construction progress because I'm getting some texts from people asking if I'm on the water already or where I am and what's going on. I've had to push the date back several times. I keep pushing it back by 48 hours. Today's Wednesday. It's like the 8th or something, and I think and I was going to try and get this boat in the water tomorrow. That's like been this what I've been trying to shoot for this week. I think I'm just going to call it and say Monday, not tomorrow. That gives me like 5 days, and I can do things on a leisurely fashion. It's not just boat construction, right? I mean, when the boat is ready to put in the water, at that point, I'm kind of tied to the boat. I don't want to leave it alone. So I got to make sure that I've done my shopping, that I've taken care of cleaning my house, making sure the cats have all the food that they need, cleaning the yard, etc. It's a residential property and neighborhood. I can't leave it looking like a mess. Yesterday was a good example of a day. I met my parents at Lowe's at 8:30 in the morning because my parents have a pickup truck with an 8-foot bed, so I could put plywood in it. Came back up here. My mother stained and polyurethane 3 coats of plywood over the course of a day. Meanwhile, my father and I just did kind of like odd jobs around the boat. By the time 5 o'clock came around, there was almost nothing to see that had been done. And I think things kept going wrong. So, one, we wanted to test out the motor, the outboard. I had it working last year. I haven't had it running yet this year. So, to do that, I had to get a hose from the store because they have to operate in water. Fill up a bucket, put the motor in the bucket, hook up the battery. So I had to make sure the battery was charged from the night before. Wire it all to the ignition system and get the gas tank hooked up. So all these are like different kind of like systems that go to make the motor run. So the first challenge was just hooking up the gas tank to the outboard. You hook it up, it's got a primer bulb. You squeeze this bulb and that pulls the gas out of the gas tank and gets some of it into the engine. That way when you start the engine, it's got fuel so it can run. That was the first struggle. Didn't seem like that primer bulb was working. Well, I figured let's at least see if the electrical part works. So I hook it up to the battery, hook up to the ignition system. I get nothing. Zero, zilch, no sound. So obviously something is not working. It's not even turning over. So that's a problem external to the engine, right? Because what the engine has is a big gear like this and a starting motor that goes up, and it's got another gear that attaches to it, and that turns it, right? So when you're hitting the ignition, what you're doing is you're turning on that starting motor to get that cranking, right? That's not even working. It's not making any sound. Okay, so that's a problem external to the engine, as far as I thought, and I was right. So then I opened up the ignition system, which is just a block. You put the key into it, and it's got a lever that controls forward, neutral, and reverse, and another one that controls your throttle. It's got a cable that's connected to the carburetor that lets in more or less fuel. All right, so I open up this block, and it's from 1965. All the wires are all corroded, touching each other. The wires weren't corroded, they're all stripped. All of the rubber that's around them, that's insulation, is all fallen off. So all these wires are touching each other. Well, I put it back together. I thought to myself, let's just put this box back together. I'll deal with that later. And then I hooked up the battery again, and I get a spark, right? So now it says to me, well, what's going on? Well, what's going on is that I've got a whole circuit now between the battery and the ignition system because all the wires are all short-circuited with each other. Nothing's working as it should, but at least they're connected. I put this motor into neutral, and all of a sudden the engine starts running, right? So now I remember, okay, the engine's got to be in neutral when I start it, but now I have all these short-circuited wires. So I turn that off. I put that away for later. Go to work on the windmill. This windmill comes from a company in Norway or Sweden, has absolutely no instructions to it. They sent the wrong size bolts that connect the rotors to the center piece that turns. So I had to go get new bolts. So I go to the store, I get the new bolts, I come back. That's great. It connects the propeller fins. But then when I go to put the front cone piece onto this thing, it won't go on because the heads of the nuts are now too big. So I put that aside. I figure out, okay, let me figure out how to deal with that later. Meanwhile, I got to figure out the steering. You know, basically you steer with a wheel. That wheel is attached to a bolt that proceeds through the dash, a piece of wood. On the back of it is a drum. Around that drum are two cables, one that goes in this direction, one that goes in that direction. They go around two pulleys, which change their direction so that they run fore and aft. At the back, changes the direction again so that they continue amidships, and then they connect the two pulleys on the engine itself to turn it. So you turn this wheel, it shortens the length of cable in one direction and lengthens it in another. Okay, let me figure out now how to reconnect all these cables that have come apart. Well, I didn't get that far, and it was 100 degrees. Things were not really going so well. My mom made some hamburgers. I put some ketchup on the hamburger. Ketchup just shoots out, goes all in my eyes and all over my shirt. My dad says, "Boy, you are not having a good day." And he was right. And I was getting frustrated. And it was hot, you know. After dinner, my neighbor came over. Another neighbor came over. My friend Sam came over. My friend Landon came over. You know, gradually all of us together figured out how to fix the engine. And we got the engine working just before dark. So, and I have all those pieces that are made by my mom that are the plywood with the stain and the polyurethane so that when it rains, I can put those over my boat and it'll keep it from getting flooded. You know, looking back on the day, you know, I had to send a text to my mom because I think they were kind of vicariously disappointed because we didn't get much, you know, done. But it's kind of like you have to do all of these things and you don't see any real result, and then all of a sudden that background or, you know, back of house stuff is done, and then you can do the stuff that people see that's exciting. You know, so there wasn't really a lot of exciting stuff when my folks were here. When we got the engine started, that was certainly exciting because it means I can actually, you know, move on the water. But it was necessary stuff, and I was glad to have their help. So I've been now off of work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. You know, my first days when I would normally go to work, but I am not. And so it's basically been since Saturday, just 5 consecutive days of boat construction, 15 hours from the time I wake up until the sun goes down. I keep trying to say, like, oh, okay, I just need one more day of work and then I'm going to put this boat in the water. I think the thing to do is say, you know what, how about I put the boat in the water 5 days from now and then I have the time to do other things, like make a video like this or, you know, do some of the back of house, you know, internet stuff that I need to do on my website, etc. Just a few other things, you know, I'd say propulsion system. Put the solar panel together 2 Saturdays ago. It comes with 6 panels, broke one. All right, so now I have 5 solar panels. You know, the windmill's got the wrong bolts, and I still have to get the steering column put together. I think I'll be able to get all of that done over the course of this weekend. I want to do some finishing work on it. You know, I want it to actually kind of like look nice and be organized. I think, you know, this isn't my first rodeo, and every time I've done this, I've always gotten the boat into the water as soon as it's ready, but nothing's packed, nothing's organized. Oh, we're facing a deadline, so let's just get in the water and we'll fix things on the fly. You know, discretion is the better part of valor. This time around, I've got some time, and I think that the better thing to do is to spend that time on the front end getting things ready construction-wise. That way, when the trip starts, I can focus on the things that I want to do, which involve exploring these cities and towns and meeting people. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up having to pass a lot of places because I got to stay on a schedule and also move and also be working on the boat. And that's not what I want to do. At the end of the day yesterday, again, a good example of a day because it was a lot of work, not a lot to see. But at the end of the day, there was a bunch of friends and family at my house and kids and dogs, and we got some work done. And there was like a feeling of community that was there. And I think that that's really important. And that's kind of exactly how I want to live my life. I've planned my life. I knew I was leaving my job. I think a day filled with boat construction and conversing with your family and friends and neighbors is kind of a good day. I've got a good hamburger that my mom made too. This is also, this is an example of the kind of stuff that the original boat is made out of. On the other hand, I've married that now to a plastic catamaran. Nothing is designed to go together. So it takes a long time to kind of do the framing to get everything flush and compatible. It took me today approximately 1 hour to cut out a board that, was straight on one end, but had to have all these particular cuts. And the only way I could figure out to do those cuts was to, measure this. Okay, at 1 inch up the board, I've got to come in 4 inches. At 2 inches up the board, it's got to go out 5 inches, etc. It's like making jigsaw puzzle pieces by hand, so, and having them actually fit together and work properly because of, this stuff's got to be watertight. So anyway, that's my schedule. Hopefully I get the boat in on Monday of next week. Go around the Hudson for a little while. Wednesday of next week happens to be my 41st birthday, and I would like to be in Troy for Rockin' on the River and, be able to show people my boat and maybe bring them out on the boat, etc. If you have any questions, please, just put them in the comments there, and I'll try and answer them for you. And look forward to updating you when the boat, is almost ready to put in the water. Thank you.